In this video, I will be walking through all of the features of Pixel Sortium version 0.1.1. This is assuming that you've already downloaded and installed the program. There is a link in the description to where you can download this application and a video which explains the installation process. So first we can start by opening our folder which contains the pixelsorting.exe file. We'll open our data folder, our images folder, and we can see some sample default images and videos. Every image and video that you want to be able to load into this program and manipulate needs to be placed into this folder, and likewise any mask files that you'd like to import must be placed in the masks folder. So if we come back to our Pixel Sortium window, we can see our image and videos here, and we can click on them to load them. And at the top, we'll see some diagnostic information such as the status of the application, if we're using any mask data, the progress of the current sort, the duration in milliseconds of how long the last sort took to complete. If we're sorting a video file, it tells us what frame we're on out of how many, and a rough estimation of completion time. So on the right, we have two UI columns. One of them is for image sorting controls, and one is for mask controls. First button we have is the sort button. If we press that, it'll kick off a sort, and using the default parameters, we can get this interesting result. If we want to go back to our original image, we can either click on the same image again, or we can click on revert changes. We have the sorting parameter selection here. It's either brightness, hue, or saturation. Brightness is usually the best for most circumstances. And what this means is as the algorithm walks through each pixel, it checks if the brightness value of that pixel is between the lower threshold and the upper threshold. So the wider this window is, the more pixels will be considered for sorting. So if we set the window from 0 to 1 and sort it, it will sort every single pixel and every single row. We can revert changes and set it back to about default parameters. Angle will, if we change this, we can see arrows which show the angle at which the image will be sorted. You can also type in a manual value, let's say 50, hit enter, and now we can press sort again and give us an angled sorting, which is pretty cool. We can save the image, and we'll see that it appears in our image list with the date and time appended to the name. The thread count parameter determines how many threads are launched each frame as the algorithm walks through the rows of the image. Usually something about 30 works pretty well. I left it public for you to determine what works best with your CPU. This can significantly speed up the sorting algorithm, especially if you're sorting a video file, then this will make a big difference frame over frame. So now that we've messed with this image, let's load our C-cliff image and try working with some mask data. So over on the right side, we can click on the Draw Mask Tool button, and this turns green when it's active. I'm going to click the brush type dropdown and select click and drag, and I'm going to do that. I want to only apply sorting to the rocky and sandy portion of this image, so I'm going to drag out a big block like that, and I'm going to select circle. I can increase the brush size with the mouse wheel and also decrease it, so I'm going to fill in some of this space. I can use the left mouse button to apply mask data, and I can use the right mouse button to delete existing mask data. So I'm going to go ahead and finish drawing this. Now that I've drawn out most of the details here, I could go in and become a little more precise if I wanted to, but I'm going to, on the right side, increase the mask opacity slider just to see and make sure I've got most of my lines pretty clean. See if I missed any spots. And this is purely a visual effect so that I can see where all of the mask data is. Now I'm going to reduce the opacity. I'm going to set the angle to something like 127. I'm going to tweak the parameters a little bit, and I'll hit sort. And so we can see up in the top left, our using mask value is now true because we are using the mask data. You can see that the algorithm is only applied to the area underneath the mask data. So something else we can do that's pretty cool is click on the invert mask button, which switches it to the other side, and now we can apply pixel sorting to the other half of the image. I'll set the angle to something like 42 with the same parameter values. Press sort, and let me clear mask value data so that we can see the whole image and we get something cool like this kind of cascading interleaving image. So I'll go ahead and save that. And last thing we can do is load up our ocean waves.mp4 default video. And now I'm going to set the angle to 90, leave the parameter values around where the default usually is, and I'm going to press sort, and it's going to sort this frame by frame. We can see that there's already a new video file for ocean waves with the date time appended to it. This is currently open, and it is not valid until the video writer has closed this file. So don't try and open it or mess with it during the sorting process. We can see at the top, we're on frame 12 out of 301, and it says it'll take about 6 minutes to complete this sort. So I'm going to go ahead and skip to the end of this. Okay, so now that the video sorting is completed, we can go into our bin data images folder. We can see we have our sorted video file here. We can load it up and view it. This looks kind of interesting. We probably could have gotten some better parameters if we had tweaked it more, but this looks pretty good for now. If we check the properties on this video, though, we can see that it is 72 megabytes, which is very large, and it's significantly larger than the original file. And this is a known issue using OpenCV's video writer, is that the encoding it uses makes for very large files. So what we can do is open VLC Player, which there's a link to this in the description below. Open it up, we click Media on the top left, and then Convert and Save. I'm going to click Add and select our sorted video. Open it. At the bottom, we'll press Convert and Save. We're going to use the H.264 profile. This is the top one, the default one. This is a lossless encoding, so it will reduce the size of the file without losing any of the quality. We have to select a destination file, so I'm going to call this Ocean Waves Converted, and then we can simply start it. This goes pretty quick for short video files. And now we can see in here we have our Ocean Waves Converted file, which is now 12 megabytes, which is significantly smaller than it was before. Okay, so this wraps up all of the features in Pixel Sortium version 0.1.1. If you have any issues with or encounter any bugs with this application, I encourage you to open up an issue on the GitHub repository, which is linked in the description. Thank you for using this, and I hope that you create some incredible things with this tool.